Okay, so starting off with the good news and then the bad news. Or bad news first, actually. So, if you don't know, if you don't watch these videos, I do Uber for my side job. Actually, it's kind of like a main job. Well, I have two jobs, kind of, but my car has been acting weird. I knew there was something wrong with it. And then today, I got a flat tire. So I didn't even get to hit the numbers I want, blah, 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 blah. But, I got to get my car fixed tomorrow. It's not even that bad, but, something it's like a speed bump, I'm dealing with. Good news is I booked 2 appointments with accounting firms tomorrow morning. And it's 1:18. I'll probably sleep around 2. And the appointments are at like 9 a.m. So I have to be up early. So, yeah. I've been having problems with my sleep lately. Like today, I didn't get that much sleep. I slept at like 4 or 5 a.m. last night. So I woke up today at like 10-ish, which is also an L. I wanted to wake up earlier, but I woke up at 10. And I don't know. First of all, whenever I'm not catching good sleep, I just feel like I'm like shrinking, I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but it just gives me the feeling that like I'm not getting enough rest. I'm not eating enough. I need more like energy, Obviously, I don't know if that's the best way of explaining it. But it affected me later in the day because I went to work out with a really well-connected guy, kind of like a friend of mine, you know. He's becoming a friend. He's very well-connected. I went to work out with him, and I swear after the workout, man, I was like this close to throwing up. The workout wasn't even hard, but, like, when the blood like just circulates to your head all of a sudden? Bro, I'm struggling to like get my words out this video. But yeah, I just felt like I was gonna throw up. And that definitely has to do with my sleep. My sleep has been bad. Even before last night, it hasn't been like the best. But anyways, I booked 2 appointments with accounting firms. Today I spent a lot of time finishing my list, and then off of the list, like my own list, because I had somebody else make me 2 different lists, and then I made one on my own. So yesterday I was like dealing with the ones that he made. Today I finished my own list, and I went to each website off the ones on the list, and I basically signed up under their form on their website. And I booked 2 appointments. I talked to one partner today on the phone, and I asked him about getting a partnership with them on a success fee basis or a rollover basis, deferred fee, whatever the term is, which basically means that any transaction that goes through, our group is going to pay you on a premium. So instead of 100% of like the regular priced fees, we'll pay you 150%, like with a premium, 50% extra. But since we're going to do that, any transaction that does not go through, we're not going to pay you, but, whatever time you put into it, you're going to roll it over to the transaction that does go through. So it's not like you're working for free. You're working, but you're not going to get paid until the transaction that goes through. And his reaction was not good. And it got me thinking, like, maybe there's like a better way to like maneuver around that. But, I like the slam, bam, thank you, ma'am approach. I like that approach more. Just tell me right now if it works. And the list that I made was like bigger firms. And maybe I should target smaller firms, but man, I just want to take action. I just want to take action, man. And after talking to the partners on the phone, it made me realize, like, man, I should hit more calls. Like, why am I not doing more calls? I know there's gatekeepers or whatever, but I should really hit these calls, man. That's gonna be the quickest way for me to find out, hey, do you guys do rollover fees? Blah, blah, blah. We got an investment group, and get the answer right away. I don't have to do all this waiting. I'm doing too much waiting, man. But for the meeting, I have like a whole script. I have like points that I need to hit in the meeting. And hopefully I get these people to agree on a success fee basis, blah, blah, blah. I think out of like 10 meetings, I'll probably get like at least one person that says yeah. Probably even more, maybe like 3 people that say yeah. But yeah, so I was doing offensive work somewhere between like 10 a.m. all the way until like 2 or 3 p.m. So not that much, but I got some kind of result today, so that's good. And then after that, I worked out and I did defensive work. And the craziest thing is when I was doing defense, which means like money to like live versus money to get ahead. When I was doing defense, my car's tire, it went flat, right? Like I said, but it went flat at a church. And the reason why that's funny is because if you watched yesterday's video, I mentioned how I spent like 3 hours, maybe 4 hours at night discussing like religion with my friend. We were like debating religion at night the whole time. And the thing is, I had another Christian guy, literally, maybe like a week ago. He was like preaching to me about like religion, blah, blah, blah. And then yesterday I had the whole conversation. And then today, literally today, the tire was completely fine. But once I get to the church, it goes flat. It's like it wants me to be there. And I literally didn't even say it. The people, like all these Christian people, like they love preaching, right? They're actually really good people. And they just come up to me like, you need help, blah, blah, blah. And they like start talking to me about religion. You know, nothing crazy. I'm not like against it, right? But they were like, yeah, look at your tire. Like, and every time like I fix it, something else goes wrong with it. And they're like, yeah, you know, God really wants you to be here, you know, like, which is weird. You know, I was there. Today's what, Tuesday? Yeah, today's Tuesday. And I was like, it's not Sunday. Why are you guys here? And yeah, my hand was like super dirty from changing the tire. I went inside to like wash my hands, and I was like I was just looking at the building. The building is massive. It's a massive building. I was like, wow, these motherfuckers make some money. That's the first thing I thought. These guys have a lot of money. And then like it looked super intriguing. Like the whole building just looked like super fascinating. So I decided to go to the chapel, right? I want to see what it looks like. And I swear, I went in, and that's when like everyone left. So it was like very empty. And I went up to the chapel, and I opened the door, and I'm looking in the room, and I swear it looks so scary at night, like completely dark. And it's like a hallway with like seats, and there's like a big cross at the end of it. I swear it was so freaky. I like immediately tried to turn on the lights, and I just looked at the room, and I was like, dude, like this is scary. But that's just my opinion. Another interesting thing, I met a guy today who was a pharmacist. He had like a big house. I picked him up from his house, right? And he was telling me he was a pharmacist, and I asked him how he got into it. And he was like, yeah, I used to work for a pharmacy, and the owner was like looking to like leave the country, or he wanted to like stop working, something like that. And he bought out the owner. So his first business that he started, he bought it from the owner. And I was like, how'd you do that? Did you do a seller finance deal? Did you get a loan? He's like, no, I did no loans. Like he was an Arab guy. And a lot of Arabs, they don't like loans because they don't like interest. They don't believe in interest. But he was like, yeah, I just got money from friends and family, and I bought out the business. And he was telling me like super interesting. I asked him about like numbers. I was like, okay, what kind of multiple did you pay for your business? He's like, I paid a 2-time multiple. It made like 180 profit every year, so he paid that times 2. And And then he had 2 other pharmacies. So he had 3 total, but the first one he bought. The other 2 he built from scratch. So my theory and the whole premise of this whole series is the idea that it's easier to buy revenue than to create it, right? And I was asking him because he bought revenue and then he created it. So I wanted to know what he thought about it. So I asked him what's easier to do. And he gave me a really shaky answer at first. So I pried at it a little bit more, like, okay, which one was easier? Like, what did you do for this one and that one? He was like, man, the first one I bought was like already set. Like, it had people coming in, it was already going. And he was like, whenever you start a pharmacy, you're not CVS or Walgreens. You can't just go to somewhere random and just like open a pharmacy and people just walk in, you know? Like, there's a lot more behind it. So yeah, so I guess his answer wasn't very like definitive, but he was saying that it's a lot harder to build it from scratch. I think that was his answer. It made sense. Like, that's what it sounded like to me. But I told him, so I was asking him about loans and what he thinks of loans. And then he asked me what I do. And I didn't tell him exactly what I do. I told him, yeah, I just drive Uber and I study finance in school. So he's like, you study finance, what do you think about loans? And then he got me going after that. I start, doing my thing. I'm just like doing all this, right? I told him about like how I have a team of 7 and we're looking to buy like home care, home health. He's like, yeah, you know what? I work with a lot of home care, home health companies because he supplies the equipment for those companies because he has a pharmacy. So he's like, yeah, get my number, blah, blah. You never know, we could maybe work together. So I met him. And then another interesting thing happened. I went to the gym and it was like a high-end gym that I went to. And I met this kid. He looked really young. That's why I'm saying kid. Like, he looked like he was my age or something like that. And he was starting a gym. He had like this like whole like concept behind it. He had about like 100 grand ready to go, and he needed another 100 grand, so he has 20% down. And I was like, okay, what do you mean 20% down? Like, I started asking about numbers, and he needs $2 million to start his business, like the gym. And he's getting an SBA loan, but he needs 10% down. 10% of 2 million, that's 200,000, and he has 100,000. So he needs help raising another 100,000. And I was trying to tell him of different ideas of how to raise the money, like maybe go to this guy or that guy. Like, I knew this one guy, and it was super interesting. I asked him about signing a guarantee. If you don't know, you're not familiar with like the terms, and I don't want to bore you guys to death, right? But this is stuff that I'm dealing with. So signing a guarantee means that you're putting your name on the line on the business. So if your business goes to zero and you lose the $2 million, your name would go bankrupt, basically. So you're basically guaranteeing that you're going to do everything you can to make it succeed, because otherwise you're screwed. That's what signing a guarantee is. And on an SBA loan, you have to sign a guarantee, because everything else, they make it so easy for you. SBA loan, 100% of it is guaranteed and completely backed by the U.S. government. So the bank has very, very tiny risk to give you the money. The only risk you really take is, signing the guarantee. In my instance, I'm going to plan on doing seller finance. So instead of coming up with like $200,000, I'm going to go to a business owner and I'm going to tell him, hey, look, I want you to hold 20%. As in, I want you to still own 20% of the company, and I'll own 80%. And slowly I'll buy your equity out of the game. You're going to slowly leave, right? You could determine how he leaves, and there's a million ways to do it. I'm not going to bore you guys, right? But that's the way I plan to do it. And then the only risk I have is signing the guarantee. And then maybe if I have to raise money, I don't think it's going to be that hard to raise money. I go to like this like private club and I'm around all these different people. Networking is huge. I've been investing a lot of my time lately in networking, and yeah, I think it's been paying its dividends. But I'm really gonna see the fruits of its labor later on when I'm on the playing field. Right now, these accountants, man, I need to get them down. But that's my main focus. So, like, what do? I need to build another list. I need to build these lists of like small accounting firms. I need to hit back the other 2 lists from the guy, aside from the one I did. I need to hit this guy. with his list. I need to call more. What else do I need to do? How many calls do you think it's gonna take? Like, I'm thinking no way more than 300. No way more than 300. That's one day's worth of work. But yeah, tomorrow I have the 2 meetings in the morning. I have to fix my car. Then I have to get a haircut. So let me talk about that. Last video, I was talking about how I was making my beard longer so I could look like I'm older. And after talking with some people, I now realize like maybe it's better for me to shave. I'm gonna look way younger, sure, but like, guys, I could pass as white, you know? Like, listen, think about it this way. If I'm sitting in front of a banker and he sees another white fellow in front of him, just like him, right? He's gonna easily click with you. He's gonna easily trust you. He's gonna treat you way better than someone different, right? It's known, you know, racism, all that, you know, it still exists. But if I shave, I look more like them because these bankers, they clean shave. They don't have beards. Plus, I look more Arab when I have a beard, right? I may look younger, but I look more like them. Like it's a lot harder to kill someone that looks exactly like you. Why is that? Because relatability is very important. That's why I like having things in common, community, religion, nationality. All those things are like commonalities. They do a lot for you, you know? Like, anyways, that's something else I need to do. So I need to focus on making calls tomorrow. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Tomorrow I have meetings with like big accounting firms. Like they make hundreds of millions in revenue every year. Like I got an email today. One of them said you need to have like 25K as a, I forget the term they use, but it was like as a deposit basically. Something like that, yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep. I need to wake up early. Another thing that's been wasting a lot of my time is like I wasted like a good hour today just watching like stuff about Israel and Palestine. Cause that's a huge deal. Like all these other countries might get involved. Like Egypt, where I'm from, could have gotten involved. Like if like Israel threatened Egypt saying if you give any assistance like to help the Palestinians like leave the country, then we're gonna throw missiles at you. Like crazy stuff. Like Lebanon's gonna attack. Iran is planning on attacking. The U.S. is there, like sending their warships just in case something goes down. And all this crazy stuff is going on, man. And then Ukraine and everything going on in Ukraine. It's like almost like a world war could happen. You know, it feels like that. It felt like that for years already. It makes me feel like tomorrow I want to go ahead and like just buy another gun, you know? I want to just go buy another gun. It makes me feel like that, you know, but I have to work out tomorrow. I have to fix my car. I have to do the meetings. I have to do cold calls. Like, I'm not going to have enough time, really. Another thing I was doing is building my mentor list. And, man, it's so interesting reading about these billionaires. Because they make their money in, like, the weirdest ways. Weirdest. Did you know that the richest person in New Zealand did exactly what I'm trying to do, my business model of M&A and, you know, buying businesses, putting it as a portfolio. He did that, but he did it in companies that make boxes, like boxes, like all these like packaging items. He bought all the companies that have the packaging items in New Zealand, and he's worth like almost like anywhere between like $7 to $10 billion. Isn't that crazy? Like their businesses are super weird. Like there's a billionaire in China that became a billionaire just off of like spyware, like selling like cameras and stuff like that. Isn't that weird? There's like all kind of like weird tiny stuff like waste management. Like you're a billionaire off of like cleaning garbage. Like what? What? Crazy, man. crazy. I was trying to look at the billionaires in Egypt, and there's only like 5, 6, 7 of them, right? Maybe like 6, I think it was. They make their money through like telecom, construction. I think construction in like the Middle East makes so much money. Like Saudi Arabia, like all the people getting super rich. Like someone else that did QLA, he signed the biggest deal in QLA history. It's called NEOM, and it was a $500 billion deal that he did with the Saudi government to build the city called NEOM. 500 billion, and that's considered construction. Like he's gonna build like a new city called NEOM. Construction, man, in the Middle East. I remember when I went to Morocco, I had someone tell me that like construction in the Middle East is not like America. Like you make real money. Yeah, it's super interesting. I'm building this list. It took me some time today too. It's like, how much did I work today? It depends what you consider work, right? You know, I consider working out as work. I consider even my eating is considered work. I barely eat, really. I eat like one meal a day most of the time, maybe 2 meals. But it's almost like I forget to eat, and it's like so out of my way to eat. And I only do it because I have to like have energy to like continue. Today I wanted to do defense until like right now, and then like start coming back home like right now. You know, but then my tire went out. So how much did I work today? 10. Oh, another thing I did today, I read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That was like the first thing I did in the morning. Why did I do that? Is because it talks a lot about Andrew Carnegie. And I've heard a lot about the book, and it said something about Andrew Carnegie. I was like, you know what? Let me just read it. So I downloaded it for free online. And it talks about, it talks about like the secret to becoming rich. And like Napoleon Hill, the guy who wrote it, he interviewed like the richest Americans in history for 25 years. He went around talking to them to write that book. And he got introduced to all these rich people through Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie asked this kid to write the book, Napoleon Hill. He asked him, hey, are you interested in writing a book? I won't pay you. It's going to take 25 years. And yeah, what do you think? And then he pulled out his watch. He looked at it, and he gave him like a minute to decide. And within like 30 seconds, Napoleon Hill was like, I'm down, let's do it. And the book was saying something very interesting. It was talking about how if you're ready for success, then you'll see the secret. And it's like a repetitive thing in the stories. Like if you're ready, you'll be able to notice it in all these stories. They're all like the same thing. And it came down to 2 things. First of all, it's literally called Think and Grow Rich. So number one thing, and it made it so obvious, it's like the way you think makes you rich. Because unless you have the idea and you have the idea and the belief and the persistence behind the idea, then you could do it. But it would never happen unless you had it in your head first. Like human beings used to not be able to fly. They used to not be able to call people. They used to not be able to have photographs or, you know, all these crazy inventions were considered impossible once upon a time. And it's only created because of something that popped in your head. So if you want to become mega, mega rich, you have to be having the thought in your head, right? Another thing I noticed was he mentioned all these rich people use other people's expertise and other people's money. So like this guy, he was doing the whole gold mining during the gold rush in the West. During the time of the gold rush, he went there and he found gold. So he went back and he like told his family. He kept it low key. He told certain people he needed to raise like $100,000. He got it from his friends and family, right? And he basically went to that mine and he started digging up the gold, digging it up, until like it ran out and he like couldn't find any more gold. So basically, he didn't take too much time to like sell the equipment, and like he basically gave up, right? And he sold the gold mine to someone else for very, very, very cheap, right? And the other gold miner that bought it did something very smart. he went to someone that was an expert in gold to check out the gold mine, and the expert told him that literally 2 or 3 feet below, you would find more gold, right? But the other guy wouldn't have known that unless he asked an expert. Literally, it's like that picture, like someone's, digging, right? And they give up right before the gold comes. Literally like that. It's a real story. So the guy buys a mine for really cheap and gets so much gold. So his returns were insane. So one, use other people's expertise. Like the gold miners used the gold experts' expertise. And then number 2, you raise other people's money. So when he bought the equipment, he asked his friends and family for money. He didn't go to McDonald's and save up for 3 years. He took advantage of the opportunity by raising money. 0 to hero, and then boom, you use other people's expertise, and it's a common theme I noticed. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video.